Where are we going? Where are we heading? Where are you young brothers who are in the back? What are you shaping for tomorrow? What is it that you see today that you don't like today, that you're willing to take a risk to do something different? Are you willing to risk your friends, your buddies looking at you from with twisted eye because you're doing something that's positive? Are you willing to go in a place that you haven't been before and people don't know you and you don't know them, but to find success there? That's what this place is about, Essex County College. We want to bring to you the opportunity to think about things differently. And once you think about it differently, if you want something different to happen, then that means that you have to take that initiative to bring something different into being. Nothing different is going to come into being with you thinking about it and saying, oh, that sounds good, or that looks good. A lot of things look and sound good, but we have to take some steps to make it different. We have to take steps to bring about some things, to bring a reality that's different than the one that we grew up with or the one that's around us. So I want to say that the way I think of writing, the way I think of this whole journey that we're on here these last 2 days is that we have to use our various media, that is, whether it's print or it's online or on the radio, whatever that format is, we have to use that to bring about the reality that we want. And so for me, that reality is one that we have the power to change. We have the power to articulate what it is. But we have to realize that that's within us, and if we keep waiting for somebody else to do it, there will be a story, but it won't be your story. It'll be a story that somebody then has you participating in, as opposed to you now are articulating the story. That's what we need our authors, or writing books, telling the history, telling the facts in ways that is not told when we don't tell it. It's okay to get up and complain about somebody telling a story, whether it's a movie or a TV show or a documentary, and complain about how it is. We should complain about things that don't represent us well. But when are you going to take the initiative to be the one who writes the story? When are you going to take the initiative to be the one who's the director and directing the story? When are you going to be the actor who's acting in the story that you've directed or somebody in your community has directed? When are we going to spend our dollars in our community to empower ourselves to do those things? We have to take the initiative to do something different, and I'm challenging the young folks in the audience to think about your role in that process. That's right, you fellas right there. What is your role in changing the reality of our community? It's not good enough to just want to have something different. You have to actually operationalize those wants. You have to operationalize those ideas, because your ideas are the composites of thousands of Africans who came before you. And when you understand that your ideas are part of the idea of the continuity of our ancestors, then you begin to see that you have a vital role in changing the world. You have a vital role in articulating the story. You have a vital role in creating a community that you like, that you love, and you create the reality that you like and love yourself. Because that's where it starts. If we're not talking about love of self, a like of self, understanding of self, then we miss a lot of what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Because we end up repeating that what somebody else says. Calling each other out of our names. Talking to our sisters like we're talking to an animal. When we get that from somebody else, we need to realize that our sisters are our queens. We need to realize that our brothers are the kings. And even if you don't, everybody doesn't be a king or queen, but that we have to realize that we're sacred beings. And we realize that we are sacred beings, that our vessels are important, that our vessels are vital, not just to us as individuals. Stop being selfish. Your vessel is not vital just to you, it's vital to everybody around you. When something happens to you, that means it happens to your mother, it happens to your father, it happens to your neighbor next door, the person across the street. That's who it happens to. And so when you realize that you affect everybody in your community, then you realize that you have to do something different about the way you do things. You have to walk through the streets differently. You have to see the streets differently. If you only see the streets as a place that's vile and angry, you'll walk through the streets and you look at people's faces. I read faces all the time. And I look at people's faces and I see scowls all day long. We develop the scowl. We're the best scowlers because we improve upon it so we make sure that everybody understands how tough we are. Now, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, so I know what it means about having to be tough. But my point is that even in having to be tough, that you have to realize that we have to have balance. We have to see ourselves as ma'at beings. That is, ma'at is an ancient Kemetic symbol, a principle of truth, justice, and righteousness, and harmonious balance. When we see it that way, then we can transform and realize that we have to have balance. I'm not saying go down the street and act like you soft and have somebody knock you over and take your money. That's not the point. We have to realize where we are, but also that we can change where we are. We can change the interactions of people around us. We can change the perceptions of one another. And once we change the perceptions of one another, we have the ability to change the way we treat one another. And so I encourage you, I ask you, I challenge you to go out and say something positive to somebody who you don't know. Or somebody you know who you always know, say something negative to. Change the reality. You can change the ether in the air. You can change the energy. And that's what it's about. When you realize that you have the power to change the energy in the air by your presence, when you walk in the room, it should light the room up, not make the room drab. Your energy should walk in the room, everybody goes, oh, who's that? Right? Because that's what you come in, that's your mentality. And so when you bring that energy in, that's power. Wielding a gun is not power. That's just wielding death. You need to wield power. You can wield power. It's just a matter of about making that choice. And when you make the choice to wield power, then you realize the power is in you, but that power comes from all the way down at your toes that are grounded in the soil, that goes to the core of earth and always go all the way back to the motherland, and then comes back here and makes you realize that you're connected in this cycle that goes on and on and on. And when you understand the connection in that cycle, you understand that you are a valuable and vital component to the transformation of our community. You are a vital and an essential component to the transformation, not just of our community, but of the world. And that's the power that you have, is that you can change the world in the drop of a dime.